which no air castle can quite equal or fiction conceive. The hand of destiny seems to hover over it, and I hear something whispering, not altogether in vain have you lived, but altogether in vain. This is the crowning mercy of my career. I set it apart from all my other public gifts. Truly, the whirligig of time brings in some strange revenges. It is now 13 years since I ceased to accumulate wealth and began to distribute it. I could never have succeeded in either, but I stopped from having enough to retire upon, nothing to retire to. But there was the habit and the love of reading, writing, and speaking upon occasion, and also the acquaintance and friendship of educated men, which I had made before I gave up business. For some years, after retiring, I could not force myself to visit the works. This is the last. Chapter 21 of Autobiography of Chapter 21 of Autobiography of Andrew Carnegie by Andrew Carnegie. This never-watched recording is in the public domain. Recording by William Tomko. Autobiography of Andrew Carnegie by Andrew Carnegie. Chapter 21, The Peace Palace at Hidden Creek. Peace, at least as between English-speaking peoples, must have been early in my thoughts. In 1869, Britain launched the monster monarch, then the largest warship known. There was, for some now forgotten reason, talk of how she could easily compel tribute from our American cities, one after the other. Nothing could resist her. I cabled John Bright, then in the British cabinet. The cable had recently been opened. First and best service possible for monarch, bringing home body, body. No signature was given. Strange to say, this was done, and thus the monarch became the messenger of peace and of destruction. Many years afterwards, I met Mr. Bright at a small dinner party in Birmingham and told him I was his young anonymous correspondent. He was surprised that no signature was attached and said his heart was in the act. I am sure it was. He is entitled to all credit. He was a friend of the Republic when she needed friends during the Civil War. He had always been my favorite living hero in public life, as he had been my father's. Denounced as a wild radical at first, he kept steadily on until the nation came to his point of view. Always for peace, he would have avoided the Crimean War, in which Britain backed the wrong course, as Lord Salisbury afterwards acknowledged. It was a great privilege for the Bright family appointed me, as a friend, to place a replica of the Manchester Bright statue in the stead of the one removed. I became interested in the Peace Society of Great Britain upon one of my early visits and attended many of its meetings, and in later days I was especially drawn to the parliamentary union established by Mr. Cramer, the famous working man's representative in Parliament. Few men living can be compared to Mr. Cramer. When he received the Nobel Prize of £8,000 as the one who had done the most that year for peace, he promptly gave all but 1,000, needed for pressing wants, to the Arbitration Committee. It was a noble sacrifice. What is money but dross to the true hero? Mr. Cramer is paid a few dollars a week by his trade to enable him to exist in London as their Member of Parliament, and here was fortune thrown in his lap only to be devoted by him to the cause of peace. This is the heroic in its finest form. I had the great pleasure of presenting the committee to President Cleveland at Washington in 1887, who received the members cordially and assured them of his hearty cooperation. From that day, the abolition of war grew in importance with me until it finally overshadowed all other issues. The surprising action of the first Hague Conference gave me intense joy. Called primarily to consider disarmament, which proved a dream, it created the commanding reality of a permanent tribunal to settle international disputes. I saw in this the greatest step toward peace that humanity had ever taken, and taken as if by inspiration without much previous discussion. No wonder the sublime idea captivated the conference. If Mr. Halls, whose death I so deeply deplored, were alive today and a delegate to the forthcoming second conference with his chief, Andrew D. White, I feel that these two might possibly bring about the creation of the needed international court for the abolition of war. He it was who started from The Hague at night for Germany, upon request of his chief, and saw the German Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Emperor, and finally prevailed upon them to approve of the High Court and not to withdraw their delegates as threatened, a service for which Mr. Halls deserves to be enrolled among the greatest servants of mankind. Alas, death came to him while still in his prime. The day that International Court is established will become one of the most memorable days in the world's history. It will ring the knell of men killing man, the deepest and blackest of crimes. It should be celebrated in every land, as I believe it will be someday, and that time, perchance, not so remote as expected. In that era, not a few of those hitherto extolled as heroes will have found oblivion because they failed to promote peace and goodwill instead of war. When Andrew D. White and Mr. Halls, upon their return from The Hague, suggested that I offer the funds needed for a temple of peace at The Hague, I informed them that I never could be so presumptuous, that if the government of the Netherlands informed me of its desire to have such a temple and hoped I would furnish the means, the request would be favorably considered. They demurred, saying this could hardly be expected from any government. Then I said I could never act in the matter. Finally, the Dutch government did make application through its minister, Baron Gevers, in Washington, and I rejoiced. Still, in writing him, I was careful to say that the drafts of his government would be duly honored. I did not send the money. The government drew upon me for it, and the draft for $1.5 million is kept as a memento. It seems to me almost too much that any individual should be permitted to perform so noble a duty as that of providing means for this temple of peace, the most holy building in the world, because it has the holiest end in view. I do not even accept St. Peter's, or any building erected to the glory of God, whom, as Luther says, we cannot serve or aid. He needs no help from us. This temple is to bring peace, which is so greatly needed among his erring creatures. The highest worship of God is service to man. At least I feel so with Luther and Franklin.
500 niya kuan, Brad.
When in 19...
B-Power. Oo. Mhm.